Hi, at 5 seconds, I will open the quotations and start my time for 15 seconds. In March of 2023, Kanye West took to social media yet again to post yet another unnecessary post. He made a comment with 21 Jump Street as his Instagram post saying that because of Jonah Hill, I no longer hate Jewish people. Or at least something along the lines of that. That was primarily what the post said as a whole, and many people were A, confused, and B, upset. For on one hand, this may seem as if this is something false, and on the other hand, good for him if he learned his lesson. However, it does not hold back the damage nonetheless, and through the quotation, you're always amazed by how brutal people could be, by Nadav Tamir, is actually incorrect. For even though people were plentiful to be expected with that Kanye West tweet and Instagram post, we're never really amazed by the brutality of humankind. As upsetting as it may be, we are always prepared for worst case scenario, and we always ensure that we can keep ourselves closed off the situation. Through previous tragedies occurring as well as the defied expectations of this incident, we can acknowledge that even though we have closed ourselves off the reality of sometimes good things happening, that it is not impossible. First and foremost, it is so easy to acknowledge that we live in a society where negativity is among us. There have been so many tragedies in the past, as well as people simply letting us down. Through J.K. Rowling as well as Stanford Prison Experiment, we can find that even sometimes through good ideas, they may be interpreted indirectly negatively. First and foremost, J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling originally made a world that was full of diversity and inclusivity, only for her to completely contradict everything she created. With discussing about her anti-transgender rights activism, she also claimed that she would be happy to be put in prison for these beliefs. She could have simply, I don't know, been a decent human being and kept her mouth shut. However, she literally ruined everything for herself by going on and on about her beliefs involving this. This hurt so many people who looked up to her books to find this type of inclusivity. She ruined this for herself and others. Moving on to the Stanford Prison Experiment, in the 1970s, Robert Zavarway conducted an experiment of nature versus nurture in a very much Lord of the Flies-esque fashion. He hired college students to come in, some pretending to be guards, whereas others were prisoners. The experiment was supposed to last around 2 weeks and lasted 6 days. This became an horrific experiment, and the parents even had to send them letters and tell them to take their children out of this experiment now. The guards were harassing the prisoners like crazy, and the prisoners were doing everything they could to get out of this situation. Even though they believed this could be a betterment of society situation, it ultimately took a negative turn. Through the Stanford Prison Experiment, as well as J.K. Rowling, we have to find that sometimes in life these tragedies can occur and negative implications can occur to send us down a downward spiral. However, just as there are those who have let us down as a whole, we also must find that society has a way of bouncing back and finding inspiration, even in the most unlikely places. People that defy expectations are little miracles in and of itself. We can find this through, ironically, Pete Davidson as well as Steve Buscemi. Pete Davidson has been most notably known over the years for his weird relationships and antics throughout the media. He recently hosted SNL again since the writer's strike ended, and usually, before SNL, they do a parody of a political incident that occurred. With everything going on in Israel and Gaza right now, they felt that would be out of touch. So instead of performing that as well as his monologue, he gave a solemn monologue discussing the incident occurring. He discussed that it was devastating for him to see what happened to all these children, and even made the joke that, oh yeah, I'm the person to do this. But he contradicted that, saying that he was the perfect person to be discussing it, for he lost his father due to a terrorist attack. His father was a firefighter in 9/11 and lost his life that day. Pete Davidson discussed that he would not laugh or find any positive emotions for months until his mom rented him an Eddie Murphy stand-up special, which was the first time he was able to laugh since the incident. Moments like that can help us realize that comedy can persevere over tragedy, and that is what he was trying to reinforce, and he did it in a wonderfully done way. And finally, you can see through Steve Buscemi. The actor Steve Buscemi has been an ironically Golden Globe nominated actor now in Adam Sandler films. He himself used to be a volunteer firefighter and went in to help firefighters during 9/11. He as well as defied expectations and tried to bring peace to an otherwise chaotic realm. Even though Steve Buscemi is more or less known for his goofier roles in his Adam Sandler movies, he was able to do something in order to help himself as well as others. Today, we have examined the quotation, "You're always amazed by how brutal people could be," and applied it to historical tragedies and tragedies occurring in and of itself, as well as defying expectations. We as humankind must see that we need to give ourselves more credit for doing positive deeds rather than negative. And Kanye West needs to learn to stay off social media.